Shiva Brahma. Shakta Brahma, whose form is untruth, asatya, Surya Brahma, whose form is truth, satya, and Vishnu Brahma, who plays with both, whose form is sama or indifference, are all related to each other and are enticing towards each other. Gradually, on seeing anything odd, one or the other kind of enchantment shows their appearance and is also experienced. The one that enchants these three types but individually has no expectations is detached and who has unmanifest powers, which are the traits of Shiva Brahma. That power, which is beyond the three types of enchantments, happens to be benevolent to all, which is why he is called Shiva. But he cannot be known in the manifest form. Therefore, he is known as the unmanifest. Besides, he is also known to make the Trinity despondent, that is, making a harmonious connection with their psychic powers, as described in the Yoga Shastras. Therefore, he is known as Neti Brahma. Shiva Brahma, being always non-expectant, is known as the fourth one because of the existence of the other three. In this way, even though he was born along with the other three, he is praised as being the Sahja Brahma. In brief, Shiva Brahma is disenchanted from the three types and is therefore free from illusion. The other three, also being dependent on each other, are subject to Shiva Brahma. Therefore, he who is self-dependent, free from the three types of manifestations, unmanifest, free from all modifications, and one who expels the other three is Neti Brahma. When we say that he is born along with the other three, it means one who comes to be known through the experience of the Trinity. He is Sahaja Brahma. When the Trinity goes away and nothing remains, there is no one to say that he is not there. Again, the expectation of the threesome from Neti Brahma Shiva is not because of dependence on the threefold deities. He is beyond the three and is endowed with self-dependence, which needs to be understood. This means that with the three becoming separate, perhaps in a sahaja way, he is experienced. Still, for expelling the three, that spontaneity, independent nature, and making the other three play is necessary. Similarly, the feeling of disparity between the expectation of Sat and Asat from each other and the expectation of making Sat and Asat play by Samabhava, equanimity or indifference, has to be understood. That has to be understood separately according to each one's way. It is possible to know it through experience in the state of meditative union. How is it that the essence of Neti Brahma, namely Shiva, being a self-dependent power center, gives room to the other three and after playing about with them, once again makes them feel hopeless, be termed as irregular? This is being clarified below. Maya. Maya, who illuminates the Asat, Sat and Sama, the three power centers, manifests through the gross forms. In other words, the majesty of the self-knowing Supreme Being becomes totally ready to play through creation out of her own desire. And the moment the feeling of Aham Brahmasmi dawns, at that very moment, the Swananda Maya, whose inherent nature is self-knowing, different from the Supreme Brahma, is known by the term Vainayaki. At the same time, she who was inherently Ekoham Bahushyam, one in many, out of her own desire and volition, became the many and assumed the support of the three centers of power through the Bahushyam Pada, Thus, Ekohampada got the support of the conscious spirit principle. This concept is revealed through this verse. Maya became enlightened from the nature of Samabhava, equanimity or indifference, in one and many, and without the support of the Supreme Brahma, she was unable to do anything. It was as though a feeling of kindness emerged in the Supreme Brahma with the expectation of providing support to her. These threefold padas, who became enchanted and foolishly attracted to Maya, had no knowledge whatsoever about me. Therefore, I realized that I myself had to give them support through my own form as the Atman. If I did not give them support, then how will the play of Maya become possible? Therefore, I decided to give powers to these enchanted beings and remained aloof and disenchanted and played from that position. With this volition, I manifested the essence of conscious spirit through the form of the Supreme Being and through the three types of causal matter and endowed them with their beings. Then that disenchanted conscious spirit whom I manifested was termed as Shiva, because singularity, plurality and equanimity, all three different essences being in opposition, truly had to come together to manifest as the power of conscious spirit. In this manner, an entity which was beyond all changes came to be established in the form of Shiva. It is essential that we understand this embodiment, who is absolute joy, gives the embodiment of joy, and is popularly known as Shankara as well. Shiva is characterized by his sahja form, self-dependent and devoid of all enchantments. His traits of power are unmanifested. Because of proximity to Shiva, the three self-knowing particles of power, namely Asat, Sat and Sama, the form of the triad, commence their play. With steady progress in self-knowledge, the powers became more and more enlightened, which led to their progressively increasing leelas. Similarly, in the reverse order, their work of completion of boundaries and getting merged through the practice of meditative union also had to be done simultaneously. In brief, how and in what order it is to be done is indicated by the verse Shaktau Surye Vishnu and Shive Abheda Buddhi. It is essential to pay attention to this. It is the absolute self-knowing supreme bearer of all power, Swanandanatha's own desire to enlighten the fourfold self-knowing centers of power, namely Asat, Sat, Sama and Sahja. In order that their play may continue for a long time, a thought arose that the unmanifest center of power Shiva, the power of Supreme Brahma, is beyond manifest and unmanifest. Then, how is it that I am unmanifest? Is it because of manifestation of the triad that the blame has stuck onto me? In reality, this is not the truth. It can be understood only by understanding the traits of Maya. Therefore, I, who am different from those three who are attached to Maya, being the detached Shiva, have to necessarily avert the detachment. With this thought in mind, he gave up the triad forms and because of this casting away, gave up the unmanifest nature. The supraconscious meditative union, which is in the nature of sacrifice or giving up, was attempted by him, by replacing the experience of the forms of duality of Tat consciousness made possible through sacrifice. Thereby, he was able to accomplish it through experience. When one gains knowledge and experiences the state, the principle of neti is sacrificed, and the form of neti in the Swanandapada becomes manifest, and that also becomes a matter of experience. Not remaining only a form, the forms of self get merged in the glory of Swananda. The actualization of Shiva Brahma is made possible by the experience of the form of superconscious meditative union. This has to be serially accomplished. When it is accomplished, the pada denoted by Shiveya Abheda Buddhi is said to have been completed. After this, the pada denoted by Mai is indicated as that which accomplishes the self-knowing meditative union through Purna Yoga, that is a total union. The Swananda meditative union, which is Ganesh Brahma, demonstrates the total attainment of Ganesh Advaita through meditative union. We shall see in the next chapter about Swananda meditative union in the next audio.